In the summer of 2010, Iron Maiden dropped a long-awaited and rather divisive album on their fans. The Final Frontier caused a stir in the fan base. From the Eddie that represented this album to the title track itself, opinions were mixed. Is it bad? Is it good? That's Eddie? Is that Eddie? But somewhere on that speck of dust was me, listening to the album for my very first time and forming my own first impressions. Per usual with a first listen of a new album, I found it difficult to form a solid opinion on most of the songs. But what I do remember is the very first song that did stand out to me. And that was track number 5, The Alchemist. A tune that's quick, punchy, and had lyrics that heavily piqued my interest. Now, over having this album in their discography for over a decade, I find that The Alchemist is often forgotten next to tracks such as The Talisman and When the Wild Wind Blows. Even then, it still holds a special place in my formative years, and I still find the subject material very intriguing. So that's what's inspired me to make today's video. This is a story told by Iron Maiden's The Alchemist. With credits on this album generally being unclear as to who did what, I think it's probably a safe bet to say that Bruce was involved with either writing the lyrics or at the very least suggesting the subject, as he has delved heavily into themes surrounding the occult and alchemy in his solo works, and this song is no exception. The Alchemist is told from a first-person perspective, and after a couple of verses alluding to themes of space and magic, we hear about the main man, the Magus, the alchemist himself, or John Dee. So John Dee was a man born in 16th century London who sought knowledge in many subjects. He was an astronomer, a mathematician, an advisor to Queen Elizabeth I, and as the title also suggests, he was an alchemist. He led a fascinating life as he was highly skilled in science, yet at the same time he also practiced magic and took an interest in divination and the occult. But you know, this was back when mathematics was considered dark magic, so take that as you will. Dee had attended the University of Cambridge and studied Greek, Latin, geometry, mathematics, physics, and astrology, which set the course of his life. He took on an important role as Queen Elizabeth's court astrologer and advisor when she took the throne, after having previously been arrested for casting a horoscope on Queen Mary I. In fact, the line, "My dreams of empire from my frozen queen will come to pass," likely references the belief that John Dee was the first to coin the term British Empire, which was in relation to the New World colonies that England wished to rule, and Frozen Queen, of course, could be in relation to Queen Elizabeth and John Dee's wish for her to rule over this empire. Following this comes the line, "I am the master of the tides." Along with all the other subjects I mentioned Dee studying and being knowledgeable in, he was also a navigator, and his work in navigation eventually helped establish England's naval superiority. To give you an interesting side story relating to that, in the year 1588, the Spanish Armada was set to invade England on a mission to overthrow the Queen and restore Catholic rule to the country. Long story short, the Armada was caught in night after night of storms during this mission. It was thought that John Dee had cast a spell on the Spanish Armada, and the storm that took down 17 ships was the outcome. The more likely scenario was that John Dee had enough knowledge in meteorology and navigation to know that this was going to happen based off of weather patterns and tides. So the next section is likely to do with his work in Scrying, which is a form of divination used for multiple reasons: telling the future, having visions, and receiving messages of prophecy or revelation. Two common items used for scrying are mirrors, usually made of black obsidian, and the classic item that most would recognize, a crystal ball. Both are tools that John Dee was known to use in his practice to speak to angels and receive messages and visions. Taking a step away from John Dee for the moment, I'd like to introduce our next subject, Edward Kelley, who was born Edward Talbot. Kelley is mentioned for the first time within the third verse. Kelley was 30 years Dee's junior and similarly took up alchemy and scrying. Today, Kelley is largely regarded as a charlatan, but he was held in high regard by Dee as he had impressed him with his abilities to speak with angels at the time of their meeting. Dee strongly believed in Kelley's abilities, and so took on working with him for 7 years, performing seances around Europe. Dee would use his scrying mirror to summon angels, meanwhile Kelley would translate their Enochian language. Enochian? I probably should have looked up the pronunciation for that before starting this video. Dee had accumulated one of the finest libraries in 16th century England at his house in Mortlake. It spanned many diverse subjects, from alchemy to medicine to history, and it consisted of thousands of books and manuscripts. Unfortunately, his home and library faced many hardships. It was set on fire by a mob in 1583, and after traveling Europe for 6 years, he had found the library, which he entrusted to his brother-in-law, had been ransacked and sold off. In 1587, Kelley delivered a message from the angels that Dee wasn't too keen on. The angels told Kelley that him and Dee were to switch wives, and doing so would help aid in continuing their work. Dee was understandably hesitant, especially knowing the fact that his wife despised Edward Kelley, but in the end, Dee still agreed for the good of their work. And by 1589, Dee and Kelley had parted ways, working with each other as prior events strained their relationship. It's said that Kelley met his fate after attempting escape from the imprisonment he faced in Prague by Emperor Rudolf II, who he told that he could produce gold for through alchemy, but had yet to prove. John Dee lost support from the monarchy when King James I came into power, saw much of his family die from plague, and ultimately died in poverty under the care of his daughter at the age of 81. Though it was a sad end to an incredibly interesting life, John Dee is still regarded today as a great scholar. And he even left enough of a legacy that a heavy metal band decided to write a song about him. There's much more to John Dee and Edward Kelley's story than is told by The Alchemist and Iron Maiden, but I hope I summarized that well for you guys, and I even found a fun fact that has nothing to do with the song or anything they talked about, but I found this interesting and I thought maybe you guys would too, so little fun John Dee fact for you. To quote HistoryExtra.com, Dee signed his letters to Elizabeth as 007. The 2 circles symbolize the eyes of Queen Elizabeth, for your eyes only, and 7 was the alchemist's lucky number. Dee played an essential role in what one day became the British intelligence service, both the real and fictional versions. Centuries later, his sign-off would be picked up by James Bond creator Ian Fleming. So that's the story behind the song for Iron Maiden's The Alchemist. Or what portion of the story they were able to squeeze in a song that's less than 5 minutes long. As I'd be interested in making some more of these in the future, leave your comments below and let me know what songs you would like me to cover, and maybe I'll consider. I've been sitting on the script for this one for about 6 months, and I thought I'd finally wrap it up and get the very first one out, because as you know, I like to do all sorts of random stuff on this channel, whether we are playing games, painting, vlogging, I just like to do lots of different videos, so I'm adding this to the mix. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, thanks to our Patreon members, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. First to coin the term shit.